Alrighty. Well, the adventure season is already over for me. I'm already level 50. I'm done. I do not need to play a single more mission. However, I think it might be helping a few people because honestly, I don't know. I just kind of like Ventures this season. I don't know. Ventures is just a weird mode. A lot of people don't like it. A lot of people do. A lot of people have different opinions on it. But I'm only here to tell you what loadouts you should use when grinding to level 50. So I'm going to talk about the modifier real quick because it slightly has changed, I believe. So we have the rage modifier. So as you can see, this is an evacuate, but the rage modifier is throughout the entire season. This is the rage. So no energy regeneration. Instead of damaging enemies with weapons, adds energies. Abilities have improved cooldowns and effectiveness. So Planner Falls kind of has something like this. Instead of getting eliminations give you energy, is basically dealing damage gives you energy, which is pretty much the same thing. And then of course abilities have improved cooldowns and effectiveness, which is super cool. I really love this. It's not as bad as like other venture seasons where like getting close does more damage, like, you know, like the Hexylvania. Don't even get me started on that one. I don't understand what they were thinking. It's really just more melee loadouts for that season. But however, some of these loadouts are actually pretty simple. So let's get into it. So I usually start off the season running a farming loadout just to get my mats up and just do it real quick. Because most of the missions are either Atlas missions, resupplies, or just quick and easy eliminate and collect. But this is the loadout that I ran for farming. It is Fossil Southie. So now a lot of people would assume you'd run Clip or Archaeologist and lead. However, this season does require you to get eliminations to get energy or damage to get energy. So instead of doing that, you can run Fossil Southie and lead, which while your shield is depleted, he regenerates 12 energy per second, which you don't know, you need 30 energy to right click or anti-material charge, hit, punch, you know, hit that wall. So 30 energy, so about 3 seconds, and you're pretty much recharged. And then of course we're going to be running Blast from the Past because we need a lot of health. We need to make sure that we do not die during this, and of course we need it for the loadout itself because we need, you know, while our shield's depleted, we need that energy per second. So we have to make sure that we have no shield. So Blast from the Past, of course, it removes your shield and gives you more health, which hence activates Fossil Southie. And then of course we're going to be running Clip and support because we do want that slightly increased additional ingredients. It's a 33% chance, but still a third of a chance of getting more materials is better than none. So Clip is really good. And then of course we have Strike Cross, which just increases our heavy attack efficiency by 28%. She is a classic go-to for farming loadouts. And then of course for activating Blast from the Past, you can do Saurian Hide. Some people can run coconuts, or you can like do different things. Hero things are glitched, so let me just kind of get this going. You can run Saurian Vigor. She doesn't do a lot. She does give you a little bit of health. I just ran her because, you know, there's nothing really else you could do. But you can also run Paleo Luna. She adds melee weapon damage, so if you need melee eliminations while grinding this, you can do that. While your shields are bleeding, increase your ability damage. If you want to run Saurian Fight, you can. Otherwise, it's really preference for your second hero to activate Blast from the Past. But yeah, and then of course the last final thing is Work, which increases your pickaxe damage by 17%. So when you're not right click anything, you can just pickaxe something and get a little more materials. So yeah. Otherwise, next loadout we're going to be talking about is actually a Teddy loadout, which I usually don't do. I usually run a Outlander when it just for farming, but since this season is a slightly a little better when it comes to cooldowns, it's actually kind of fun running Enforcer Grizzly and Lead. So Enforcer Grizzly, if you don't know, he does increase your duration by 12 seconds when it comes to Teddy, which is an insane amount, by the way. 12 seconds longer is, you know, you'd be surprised what 12 seconds, how long 12 seconds is. So and then Happy Holidays to reduce your cooldown. You can actually switch this out. Yeah, you can run Happy Holidays because it does decrease your cooldowns, but you can run Blast from the Past, which gives you more health and it can keep you alive for longer. However, you could run Blast from the Past, like I said, and you can just run more shields or, you know, get more health. But in support, we're going to be running Berserker, which increases your Teddy damage by 30%. Overbearing, which increases your Teddy range by increases your Teddy range by 2 tiles, and enemies take more damage from Teddy based on distance, up to 40% at max. So the further away you are, a little more damage you're going to be doing. So stand a little back. And as you know, since you're running Happy Holidays, if you're running Happy Holidays instead of Blast from the Past, you want to be a little more distant when it comes to enemies. And then Fuel for the Violent. This one is a really necessary one because you do want to be getting energy back. And Fuel for the Fallen is just one that you need to run throughout the entire season, or just at least have in support when it comes to this season, because he eliminations restore 6 energy over 3 seconds. So when you eliminate something, you get more energy back. So while you're shooting an enemy, you do get the energy back, but if you eliminate it, you get even more energy. So it's kind of like a win-win. And then, of course, under warranty, Teddy has a 100% crit chance against new targets and has a 5% chance of malfunction. And during malfunction, it finds a new target, or during malfunction, Teddy finds a new target after every shot. So after that malfunction, it can actually have a 100% crit chance to actually hit that chance. It's confusing, but it's really good, and I've noticed it does actually a lot more than what people think it does. So yeah. And then finally, press and charges increase your damage or fragment abilities, which if you don't know fragment abilities, whenever you have a fragment like Teddy or your shock tower, it does more damage, and it's 30%, so why not do it? So yeah. And then of course I'm going to be running supply drops, stationary turrets, like always. Otherwise, yeah, that's my Teddy loadout. And the next up, we're going to be talking about a classic build. A lot of people actually use this loadout, and I usually don't talk about this until Hexylvania, because I usually only use it during a Hexylvania, but a lot of people use it in every venture season. So let's talk about it. So Paleoluna is going to be running in lead. She increases your damage the more health you have, which is really good when it comes to melee loadouts. And then of course Blakebeard's stash. So Blakebeard's stash, eliminations have a 5% chance to uncover one of Blakebeard's stashes, and in these you can actually have a you can get peg legs, coconuts, and cannonballs. So they're really good peg legs. If you have a supercharged hero, you can actually get your peg legs up, which is an insane amount. You can actually almost one-shot enemies with this, which by the way is really nice. So yeah, it's pretty cool. And then we have in support, we got Swap the Deck, which is increasing our club damage by 17%. And peg legs are considered clubs, so that's why we're going to be running her. Going coconuts, so we can actually get that buff whenever we eat a coconut. And we have we don't need to search anything, because once we open a Blakebeard stash, we have that coconuts already. So we're just getting damage after damage by getting these stashes. And then we're going to be running Avis Mateys, which increases cannonball damage by 20%. With those cannonballs, we're going to be doing more damage against enemies. And then Saurian Hide, just to give us extra shield. You know, Paleoluna without Blast from the Past, you know, you could die pretty fast. So just give us that extra armor, you know. So and then finally Assassination, which is a really necessary one whenever it comes to this loadout. Dealing melee weapon damage grants you a stack of Assassination up to 5, and then Assassination lasts 5 seconds. It increases your melee weapon damage by 4.5%, which is a lot whenever you think about it. So you pretty much one shot almost basic Husk, and then it takes a few shots for, you know, Husky Husk and whatnot. But it's pretty good loadout. A lot of people use this loadout, and it's super simple. And if you don't have, you know, as Blakebeard, and you don't have Blakebeard stash, then of course you can't use it. But it's definitely a good loadout, and I do recommend actually using it. I didn't use it this season, but like I said, I only use it during Hexylvania. Otherwise, yeah, let me know what you think of this loadout, because I know a lot of people use it. Like, I've had a few people tell me this is a really great loadout. And I know it's a great loadout, just I don't use it every venture season. Otherwise, moving on, next up, we have my favorite loadout, and the only loadout that I really ran this season, which is Diecast Jonesy. So, if you guys don't know, every single season, I usually run the minigun. I'm usually the DPSer of our group whenever we grind whenever I grind with AWALRY and Archer and Invasive. So basically I'm running minigun for like 90% of the time. But basically, if you don't know the season, like I said, you have reduced ability cooldown. So that means you can technically have an infinite minigun. Instead of running Diecast Jonesy and lead, you're going to be running, you're going to be swapping out, if you guys don't know, the other loadout. You're going to be swapping it out for Commander Spitfire. So Spitfire actually increases or decreases your cooldown of your minigun. In lead, I think it's by 66%. So you will literally have an infinite minigun. So you can run it back to back, and you just basically have that infinite minigun. But as you get into the higher levels, it's a little bit harder because most of the enemies are elemental, and you're not going to do a lot of damage with the physical minigun. So that's when you're going to swap out with Diecast. Now, Diecast Jonesy, he increases your going commander damage by 50%, and it changes the energy type, or the minigun to energy, which is really good against elemental Husk. And on top of that, if you run Happy Holidays, you actually, you know, you have the reduced cooldown by 40%. So you actually have a minigun that is cooldown about 21 seconds, which, if you don't know, a minigun lasts for quite a bit whenever you have the right loadout, of course. So yeah, so basically what you're going to be doing is going again. which in support, he increases your cooldown by 30%. So of course, this one is a necessary one. First cup of the day is always a great pick because while going commander is activated, he increases your crit rating by 10 and crit damage by 100%. So you have a chance to crit a lot. And then ain't done yet, which is increasing your going command duration by 5 seconds. This one isn't really necessary, but it does help whenever it comes to infinite minigun and doing more damage. Survivalist isn't really necessary, but I just like having extra health, especially when I'm standing there and I'm not as mobile. And then Fuel for the Fallen, this is a really good one because eliminations give you energy. So over time, you'll have that energy built back up for the next minigun cycle. So yeah. Now, however, there is technically a different loadout that you could run if you don't want to run Happy Holidays and if you want to have more health. It technically is still a infinite loadout, but it's not as fast or as reduced cooldown. So you can swap out Happy Holidays for Blast from the Past, and then you can run the heroes that affect Blast from the Past are activated. So you can do that. It's just not infinite minigun wise, but you could technically do that and have more health, and you could almost have infinite minigun. So it really depends on your preference. Like I said, what I did is I just ran going again in lead, which increases your or decreases your cooldown by 66%, which hence gives me a infinite minigun. And then once I got to higher zones, like around like 94 zones, I started running diecast just for that energy change or energy minigun. So yeah, but this is like the loadout that I ran all the time. So yeah, this is one of my favorite ones. Otherwise, a next loadout we're going to talk about is Dragon Scorch. So Dragon Scorch is a basic loadout, really good for farming and eliminate, collect, or destroying encampments, just getting those eliminations done fast. So now this one's a very interesting one because if you don't know, in regular missions, it's a 6-second cooldown whenever it comes to Dragon Slash. So with this modifier this season, since it's reduced, you actually don't need to run you don't need to run Happy Holidays. You can run Blast from the Past, which is really good because you don't die as much whenever you're running Blast from the Past. So you're going to be running Dragon Scorch and lead, which increases your Dragon Slash range tiles or range to 3 tiles, and then your width to 2 tiles and damage by 25%. He's really good. He's one of my heroes that is supercharged because he just does a lot of damage whenever it comes to the Dragon Slash. And then of course, did not mean to do that. And then of course we're going to be running Blast from the Past. And then Saurian Focus, since we are shields depleted, we need that energy back. And then Hide to make sure that we have that extra armor. Fuel through the Fallen is really great. Like I said, if you get eliminations, you get more energy. And since we have basically an infinite Dragon Slash, you pretty much need that as much energy as possible. And then these are necessary. Tail of the Dragon. She leaves a energized trail, which deals 26 base energy damage per second. Really great. It's a lot of damage whenever it comes to Elemental Husk, and they die really super fast. So I definitely recommend running this. Tail of the Dragon is necessary. And then Return of the Dragon, it decreases your Dragon Slash energy cost by 30%. So you basically have more Dragon Slashes in that time, and you have to use less energy. So yeah, but that's a basic Dragon Slash Dragon Slash loadout. It's really fun. Actually, I didn't get to use this one this season, but I was testing it out, and it's actually really insane. Like, I do recommend running this one. This one's actually really fun, especially in the lower zones or like eliminating collects, getting those done super fast. But yeah, otherwise the final loadout that we're going to talk about, it's basic. I'm not going to spend as much time as I would usually do on the other loadouts, but for base, you're going to either run Ice King or Base Kyle, or you can run I believe some people run Mega Base and lead sometimes, because he increases your connectivity range by like 3 in lead. But Ice King is really the go-to. You want to stop those smashers and whatnot. So and then recycling isn't really necessary. Technically you can run not totally working out Boom Base. You can run Boom Base, which increases basically you do more damage. Yeah, that's basically what it is, or at least the way I see it. So and then in support, of course, you got Tough Traps. You definitely want Tough Traps, just due to the fact that none of your survivor bonuses count in Ventures. So make sure you run Tough Traps. Power modulation, so those structures are getting healed. And then Base Kyle basically increases your building health, which is really good. Far is not really necessary. You can replace this with really whatever you want, but Far is just the hero that I use since I have a Xeon Bow early on. So, and then of course Mega Base and support too, to increase that connectivity range. So yeah, otherwise that's all the loadouts that I use during the season. Yeah, like I said, the most used loadout is definitely going to be my diecast loadout. So if you have any questions about that one, I definitely can answer it. There's a lot of modifications that you can do to this to make it even more interesting or a lot better, or just different. This season's very versatile when it comes to making different loadouts, just due to the fact that there's reduced cooldowns and there's different bonuses whenever it comes to different missions. There's like sometimes you get like a melee bonus or something in some of these missions. I know some of them, I don't know if any of them actually have them. I feel like once we get into them, it tells you. But otherwise, yeah, that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, let me know down in the comments. But these were all the loadouts that I used to get to level 50. And if for anyone that is interested, it took me 30 hours and 30 minutes to finish Ventures this season. So yeah, otherwise, that is all the loadouts that I used during this season. Thank you for watching. Man, remember to use code Mattio in the item shop. I'd appreciate it a lot. Otherwise, I will catch you guys in the next one.